Hey there, Danielle Matthews here. I am a post-traumatic growth specialist and I help people turn their pain into their power. This is something I have a lot of passion for after coming through my traumatic brain injury, and I love connecting with people, love helping them move through challenges and support them. So, Melissa, good to see you. Guys, today is Monday, it is noon, and so we are doing our book club. And I am really excited. If you haven't joined us in the past, it's okay. You can jump into book club at any point. The conversations we're having around this book are incredible. And if you can't read that, I don't know why I couldn't, but if you can't, it's Wayne Dyer's book, The Power of Intention. Now, we kicked off book club last week, same time, same place, talking about chapter 15, where he was really discussing with us what it means to be a connector. And Wayne said to begin at the end, right? It's a perfect example. Morning, Peg. You so beautifully pointed out last week, Peg, that of course Wayne had to start at the end and know where we're going. And now we're going to start at the beginning and figure out how in the world we get there. So last week, for those of you that were on, I know Peg, Melissa are here. Guys, got to talk to me in the chat. I can see some who's watching on Instagram. I can't see who's watching on Facebook. So let me know you're here. Let me do some adjustments actually on the Facebook side. And hey Leah, yes, where are you calling in from? Right? Not calling, but tuning in from. I do love to hear that. We've got people from all over. I know some friends in Denmark are joining us, and it's wonderful. So, hey Karen, good to have you on. Good to see you. Peg Coates, the sorcerer, yes! There was so much good stuff in this first chapter. Before we dive into chapter 1, though, we had a little assignment last week, and I am super curious. So last week we talked about how we should take the next week and go through it, making sure that our energy, our emotions are dictated from the internal world and not the external world. And so I am super curious to hear how that went for you. And if anybody has any stories with that, while you guys are typing and sharing, I put some information in my story last week. I woke up in the middle of the night, I think it was a Wednesday night, because Bodhi was like scratching a ton. And immediately was like, oh gosh, he got the fleas. Because our cat, who's mostly an outdoor cat, we realized he had fleas, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. So he's been outside, we've been dealing with it, whatever. We haven't let the cat inside, so we thought Bodhi has been fine. So I couldn't fall back asleep. Woke up that morning, and it was like one of these moments where I was feeling frustrated by this external circumstance. Like I hadn't booked time in my day to clean the house, to treat the dog, to do all this stuff. And it was a moment where I had to apply what I'm learning, right? There's knowledge, and then there's the application of the knowledge. And it's usually when we're applying what we're learning that it's tough. So I'm sitting there going, okay, like I'm just going to express gratitude. Like I need to express gratitude for the fact that the dog has fleas. Like as crazy as that sounds, let me express gratitude. Like what first step can I take? So first step was I needed to comb through and see like, well, how bad is this? What's crazy is I combed through the dog, not a single flea, not a single anything. And I went, all right, well, in my Googling of what to do, it had also said fleas have a crazy life cycle. And just because you've cleaned the house once, like you have to go through and do a deep clean again because of the phase of like the larvae and the eggs and whatever. So through all of that, I realized that we did have to clean the house again because of what the cat had been in. So we did do a deep clean. And while we were deep cleaning, we realized that our AC has been leaking. And so at the end of this crazy day, it was like, all right, well, now we at least knew that there was a problem, and moving into summertime in Florida, it's not a problem you want to have. And I just the whole time was going, okay, thank you, thank you for this. And I'm curious how it went for you all. Leah says I had lots of opportunity to work with this truth. Yeah, I think we do every day. And she said that they lost the battle with their puppy and had to put him down. And we decided to spend time talking through the emotions and decided to move forward with the day and enjoy Easter and have fun. We miss him, however, we are thankful for the 5 months we had him. Oh, that is upsetting to lose a little pup. Yeah, Leah, thank you for sharing that. And it is, it's like you have to wonder why such a short life, and who knows. But you got to trust. Everything's always unfolding for the greatest good. And sometimes we don't understand why. And I think what Wayne talked about, right? Connectors are always in this space, realizing that whatever is unfolding is exactly what's meant to move you into the space you're supposed to, and to express nothing but gratitude for what's in front of you. Melissa Sharon over here on Instagram, she said, yes, it was so helpful to watch myself closely and see where I needed to change how I show up. I practiced saying thank you continuously, and it changed everything. Yeah, it's like amazing the lens that we can put onto a situation. We have the internal choice. Like one of my teachers has always said, Danielle, you've got the external world plus your internal response to it. That's going to make your reality. And right, Wayne was teaching us, don't let the external world pull you around. Don't let it dictate your emotion. You get to have an internal response to it. You can choose to be grateful. You can choose to be calm. You can choose to be grounded. We can choose all those things. Juliet says it's been lots of practice in a very challenging week. Yeah, I think it has been for many. I know it was for me too. So with that, I'm really grateful to have you guys here. Really grateful to be back at this. I got a couple messages and phone calls after last week's book club. People just expressing how much it meant to them to have this community and to have these discussions and just to be in this energy space. So there is no club without all of you. So I'm grateful that you're here and you put some time aside. And how did we enjoy chapter 1? So chapter 1 was titled Viewing Intention from a New Perspective. And for those that might be joining that didn't read, like I'll do a little bit of summary and create discussion around this. But here's what's really interesting. So Wayne basically says, look, when you read about intention from scholars, from academics, etc., they basically define intention as a strong purpose or aim accompanied by a determination to produce a desired result, right? Super driven, super clear, here's the intention. That's how it's typically defined, but as the chapter kind of says, viewing things from a new perspective, he redefines it. So those of you that have my book, same copy, those of you that don't, it's probably around the same page, right? It's page 4. He redefines it, and this is so powerful. He says, in my mind, intention is now something much greater than a determined ego or individual will. It is something almost totally opposite. Intent is a force that exists in the universe. And he says, it's become clear to me that accessing the power of intention relieves so much of the seemingly impossible work of striving to fulfill my desires by sheer will or force. When you realize that intention is a dormant force, it is something that is outside of us. And I don't know about you. I have always been one that's been super driven, goal-oriented. I've always used my will to create. And it can be frustrating, a lot of work. And you realize, wow, if Peg says, talk about a deeper dive. Yeah. Very spiritual concept here where he's saying, no, intention is actually like a field. It is something external to us that we can actually grab and use, and its energy and our free will to decide where it is we want to go. Together, we can create it. And when you're in harmony, has anyone ever found flow in life? Or things just seem effortless, doors are opening, connections are happening. That to me is when you're in alignment with intention. Leah says, chapter 1 was the crux of my daily challenges, the paradox of my will. The paradox and my will was very frustrating. Yeah. I think for all of us, that's the human experience, right? Having to deal with that. But when we realize this, to me, reading this chapter made me breathe a sigh of relief in thinking, okay, it's not all on my shoulders. I'm connected to this infinite intelligence, right? What he calls the power of intention. We all have connection to it. We just lose it. And I think it was really helpful to kind of dive into, understanding this. He gave some great examples. I live out in the middle of the forest. I've got oak trees all around me, and I've started planting things, and I'm starting gardening. And it's really interesting, the way that he describes this force and how he uses nature to describe it. And how we just need to tap into the same intelligence, that same intention that teaches an acorn what to become. I think on page 6, he says it so beautifully. He's a tiny acorn with no apparent power to think or to make a plan, right? We have all this power to think and make plans. But it says this tiny acorn with no apparent power to think or make plans for its future contains intention from the invisible field. If you cut the acorn open, you won't see a giant oak tree, but you know that the tree is there. Every aspect of nature, without exception, has intention built into it. And as far as we can tell, nothing in nature questions its path of intent. Nature simply progresses in harmony from the field of intention. We, too, are intended from the energy of this field. Yes, Juliet, well said. She said, constant reminder, reconnect, reconnect, reconnect. It's like when I get stressed out or I start to feel, I don't know, anxiety, fear, worry, right? Any of these things that are pulling me out of my flow, I go into nature because it's such a beautiful reminder. Like, I planted kale the other weekend, a couple weeks ago, and like these little kale babies are shooting up. I didn't tell them to do anything. I just put them in the ground and I gave them water and sunshine. Right? That power of intention, that force that's there informed them what to do. And you stop and think, I have access to that. You know? And so then the question is that all of us ask are, why do so many of us feel disconnected from this so frequently? And even more importantly, if intention determines everything, then why do so many of us lack so much of what we'd like to have? Did you guys ask yourself that question? Because as I was reading this, Mark says I drink a redox mood. Yeah, that helps. That helps too. But getting the physical body calm, Mark, I'm with you. But the questions that he poses there, like, I mean, you walk around and you look around in life, and if we have the potential to be connectors, right? This is who we are, innately are. We are connected to this. Why are so many of us struggling? Why are so many people frustrated? You know, why are we living like out of flow in these ways? Leah says she asks herself these questions all the time. And you know, as I was reading that, I immediately went, oh, it's the ego, right? What makes us different from animals? It's the ego mind. And yeah, Melissa says, I get so caught up in human drama. Carol says, I'm loving this. I'm just now figuring out how to connect on Facebook. This is a phenomenal book. Yeah, I'm glad you're joining us. Peg beautifully said, Peg said, we push instead of partnering with source. We do, because our mind, like, believes that it can figure it out. And our mind pushes, and our mind uses things from our memory to inform what we're doing. I think about it like, if we just use our mind, it's so limited. You know, I don't care how brilliant you are, there is still limitation to the mind when you're talking about infinite intelligence, right? And if we just have sheer will, thinking it has to look this way, I've got to do it this way, et cetera, you're actually pushing into a very small way, very small option. But if you just say, look, this is what I want to create, and I'm open to how it's going to flow, now there's a lot of different creative ways for it to get here. I don't know how you all are here, right? I put out on the internet and I said, I want to do a book club. You know, people just started responding. The right people I know found my message. You're not here by mistake, you're here by design, because we are all meant to be connected to have this conversation. And so he gets into this, and this is going to be like just a look in the mirror for all of us, because as I read this, I thought these are good reflection questions. So he says the ego is the main reason that we get confused, because we start to identify with who we're not. We identify with this mind, forgetting that we're connected to the divine, to source, to God, whatever your word is for it. And so he talks about, if you allow your ego to determine your life path, you deactivate the power of intention. You literally cut the cord, that connection. And so Leah says, I just happened to have my computer, and poof, there you were, Danielle, with this invitation. Yeah, it found you because it was supposed to. So things are about to get real. There's 6 questions I'm about to ask from the book. Okay, this was page 10. And I'm curious to see where most people, their ego gets in the way. So please be open. If you're multiple numbers, put in multiple numbers. So he basically says, look, there's 6 ego beliefs. And when we start to identify with these, that's when we start to disconnect. So I wanted to highlight this because I want to make sure that we bring the awareness to it. So the first one is I identify with what I have. My possessions define me. Put in the chat a number 1 if that's you. For sure, that was me. And I had such a powerful lesson in this. When I had my car accident, I put all my stuff in storage because I couldn't work. So I paid for a year to put all my belongings in storage, thinking, well, I'm going to get back to that. And a year later, I still wasn't healthy, still couldn't work, still unwell. So I went to my storage unit and I looked at all this stuff and I was like, why in the world did I pay to keep this stuff? Like, it's just junk, right? Like, why in the world? Jennifer, you get it, right? Ron says number 1 too. Yeah. When we identify with our possessions, can you imagine if everything got swept away? I have a friend here. The hurricane that happened down in Fort Myers took away his whole house, his whole everything. And I thought, man, how would I feel if that happened? And how would you feel if that happened, right? Carol says hoarding onto the past and sentimental attachment is a problem of hers. Yeah, it's ego-based. So it's a good exercise. Number 2, I am what I do. My achievements define me. I find myself in this all the time. Going like, yes, I accomplished this, or yes, I accomplished that, or whatever, like thinking like, oh, this makes me better. Like, that's ego-based thinking. And it's really interesting, you know, again, I can just share personal experience. And if anyone has anything in the chat, I love what Carol shared. Peg says I'm 2 and 5. So, you know, my achievements define me. When my car accident happened and I could no longer work, I couldn't show up in the world in any way. I couldn't give in any way. I mean, there was literally like nothing that I could do. I was shattered because I had been so identified with those things. Danielle was the top performer at school. Danielle was a great teacher. Danielle was a great friend. Danielle was, you know, always giving back. I was identified with like the achievement. Danielle was a snowboarder, right? All those things I had achieved in life. And then they were just like taken away. It was like the universe was like, yeah, no, let's take all those away. Now who are you? And it's so interesting. Peg says that's me big time. Melissa's saying, I used to practice non-attachment by throwing away everything and starting over. Yeah, that's a dramatic way to do it for sure. Might be a little dramatic, but good, right? It's just good practice to go, it doesn't matter. I can see where I have some of this. Larry's saying with number 2, I expect to do a great job and be recognized for it. Yeah, that's the ego going like, see me, you know. Let go of that. Let go of that. All right, number 3, I am what others think of me. My reputation defines me. This, I think people aren't willing to say this is them a lot of times. But I will tell you with my work in the network marketing space, in the sales space, in coaching and training a team of people globally, this is true country to country, culture to culture. Like, it is something that I see all the time. People are afraid of rejection. They're afraid of being told no. They're worried about what someone's going to think of them. You know, I work with this product, many of you know it, ASEA. It looks like it's saline. Like, and people say frequently, you're selling salt water. And it's like, I watch people just, oh God, you know? And it's so fascinating. Peg, you hit the nail on the head. It's a self-worth thing. If your value, if you believe that's, you know, somebody else gives you your value, it means you don't think you're worthy yourself. Rejection is a big concern for Larry. Yeah, Ron says, yes, this too. I worry too much about what others think. Yeah. It's so fascinating. This is a little bit morbid, but it came to me, so I'm going to share it. I was watching a gentleman walk through a mausoleum the other day, and it was like a TikTok video. And he was saying, you spend your whole life basically worried about what other people are thinking, what other people are saying. And he said, you know, after you pass away, like maybe in the next week, family might talk to you about you, some good friends. A month from now, you know, less, 2 months, 3 months, a year from now, like the amount of conversation is very little. And he's basically said, why do you care about what people are saying about you or thinking about you when you're gone from this earth, they don't even take moments out of their day to think about you or talk about you or remember you for all the good that you've done, right? You're just gone. So why would you spend your life worried about people that are not even concerned truly about your life? And it's super interesting to look at it that way. Gina says, yeah, that's really profound. When you have that perspective, I think it's perspective, right? It puts it in a different light. And I just want to offer that out to you because that's a powerful one, and I see most people struggle with that one a lot. I see a lot of people struggle with it. All right, number 4, I am separate from everyone. So a lot of people think, he writes, my body defines me as alone. So a lot of people see this physical being and they think this is it. Not realizing, they are spirit in a physical form. We are both energy and matter, and that energy part of us is connected to everything. The way I think about it is, a wave and the ocean. The wave expresses itself in form, and because it's up there, playing around in air and around everything else, it thinks it's independent, but really it's made up of the same thing the rest of the ocean is. Guys, that's you. So you are connected. How many feel disconnected? How many do not feel that they're connected to the divine? How many feel cut off? They feel lonely. They're like looking for this connection. A lot of people spend their whole life looking for it externally. I mean, they travel, they do pilgrimages, like they're looking, not realizing that, hey, they just have to go within because you hold that connection. This is a profound one. Yeah, great comments over here in the chat. Leah says, I feel very connected to God. Good. Very good. Juliet says, I have to remind myself daily. Yeah, beautiful. Number 5, I am separate from all that is missing in my life. Meaning I feel that my life space is disconnected from my desires. I know Peg said this was one of hers. This definitely is something I see come up in people. And then number 6, I am separate from God. My life depends on God's assessment of my worthiness. Okay, so really profound to kind of come in here and see this and and understand, look, if you're struggling in life, if you're feeling frustrated, if things aren't working, it's probably because you cut this connection to intention. I mean, I don't know why I'm going up here. It's everywhere, but that's in my head. It's like, I think it's because of the trolley strap analogy that he shared. But you're cutting it. So Gina says number 5 is huge for her. Yeah. And you relate to number 6, Karen says. Yeah. I that's the best list I've ever seen of ego. And I guess he says Your Sacred Self is a book he wrote about ego. I mean, that's everything. If you can understand your ego mind and master that, like, you've mastered life. I think it's a big key. So I wanted to highlight that. And then the next page, the most powerful visual. How did y'all like that trolley strap analogy? Where he talks about, as a little kid, he gets on the trolley with his mom and like all the adults are holding on to the strap and just like moving with the trolley as it's going, as people are getting on and off, and just like trusting this journey because the trolley knows where they're going and they set the intent of where they want to go and they're just trusting this flow. And he said as a little kid, he envisioned himself like looking up and wanting to just float up and grab the strap. And I was like, what a powerful way to think about things. When you disconnect yourself, like he said, look, you need to just think of the power of intention is that trolley strap. Like, it's always there. Something external to us that we can grab onto and allow it to take us. Sorry, Bodhi. Bodhi just came by. He's like, why is mom so excited? But it can take us exactly where we want to go. You just have to hold on for the ride. Like, how amazing is that? So Larry says it took a while to understand the strap. Yeah, any questions on this? Because I think if you can wrap your mind around this one, it's such a powerful thing to come back to, like daily, minute to minute if you need to, right? It's such a powerful, powerful analogy. There's lots in the chat. Let me see. And Jennifer said, after reading the first chapter, I felt like I needed to find the therapist. The trolley strap. That's all you need, Jennifer. Just quiet your mind and grab the strap, right? I listened to this on Audible and somehow I missed the trolley strap analogy. Yeah, so profound. It's on page 11 in my book, and basically he's saying, look, this is the thing outside of us that we can grab onto, and we are so incredibly powerful. Like I just where did I put it? I think it was page 13. He says, allow yourself to be carried by the same power that turns acorns into trees, blossoms into apples, and microscopic dots into humans. Like, that is what we have access to. So we need to stop cutting ourselves off. Yeah, Mark says, I got to read this again. So much to unpack. Yeah, I think we could probably spend like 30 minutes on one page of this book. As I was going, I was like, how are we going to get this in a half hour? Juliet said, practice every night as I went to sleep. Some new guides came in, a pathway to mastery. Beautiful. Yeah, guys, we are connected in. And as you start to ask and as you start to reconnect, it's super powerful. So he shared some steps, to connecting with intention. And, I just wanted to, because I think a lot of us tend to struggle. That's what I'm hearing. And on page 14, I highlighted this like so much. I said, look, he basically says, when you shift your thoughts from spirit to ego, you seem to lose contact with the power of intention. Your free will can either move with the universal spirit and its unfolding, or it can move away from it towards the ego dominance. As it moves away from spirit, life appears to be a struggle. One of my teachers, he would say, if I ever in life start to get stressed out, I just ask myself, when was the last time I meditated? And he said, inevitably, it's when I get out of my routine of connecting with source, of connecting with the universe. Maybe that's prayer for you. Maybe it's meditation for you. Maybe it's a walk in nature. What are you doing to, it's like any muscle, right? As you continue to work this connection, it gets stronger and stronger and stronger. Peg says, I love the idea of becoming a sorcerer, partnering with source to create. Yes, totally agree. Totally agree. And that means getting out of ego, right? The sorcerer is able to say, hey, I'm going to source. I'm grabbing onto the trolley strap always. And that's what's going to take me through life, not this mind of mine. Carol says, when was the last time I meditated? Profound question to ask myself. Yes. I had to read this chapter twice, sit and quiet my thoughts, so I didn't want to argue with myself or slap my ego. I know, our mind has a lot to say sometimes. That ego is chatty. So, all right, what else did I want to point out to you? Oh, just how powerful we are, right? He says, like, with your free will, you can consciously decide to reconnect to the power of intention at any time. And then you alter its direction. You alter the direction of intention. When you grab onto it, the free will that you have, you're saying, hey, I want to ride in this direction. And it says, let's flow. It's so powerful when you realize who you truly are and what you have connection to. Peg says, ego works to keep us safe, and it can be a dream killer. Yes. Yes, indeed. It certainly can. So the last bit here, since we're running out of time, is a half hour enough? I don't know. There's so much in this. It's like such good conversation. Melissa says, releasing, the need to know how we are going to get there. We decide and we connect, we ask and we take action, then let go of the rest. Yeah, this has been, who else has a hard time with that? Like for me, I know I have like impatience that I have to work on. I'm like, okay, I know where I want to go. Like, all right, universe, let's go. And then it's not showing up. And I'm like, what happened? But we have to be patient. Like everything will unfold in divine timing. And it's amazing to look back and understand and go, oh, I see now why this had to happen before this. And like, it's all unfolding in exact right timing. We just have to trust that. And so it's just quieting the mind, grabbing the strap and going, all right, we got this. Like I've said where I want to go. Now it's all going to unfold. So he gave us 5 suggestions for implementing the ideas in this chapter. And I thought that'll be our assignment this week. All right. So there were 5 different ones that he went through. And I'm just going to read them because I want you to pick, right? Which way do you want to practice? So first option, whenever you feel out of sorts, lost, or even in a sour mood, visualize the trolley strap hanging down from the field of intention 3 or 4 feet above your head. Imagine floating up and allowing the trolley to carry you to your built-in intention. This is a tool for implementing surrender into your life. This is mine. This is the one I'm going to do. Just hold on to the strap. Right, Carol? Exactly. Hold on to the strap. Ron says he's impatient too. I know, Ron. I get it. When you have a health issue too, it's like really hard to be patient. That's the space I was in. But I also know I had that health issue because I needed to learn to practice patience. I truly believe that. So Ron, I think that's one for you too. Anyone else going to do number 1? Good assignment. Yeah, I agree, Peg. That's what I'm going to do. He says another option is to say the word intent or intention repeatedly when you're in a state of anxiety or when everything around you seems to have conspired to keep you from your mission. This is a reminder to be peaceful and calm. Intention is spirit, and spirit is silently blissful. So do other people resonate with the idea of just saying intent, intention, and just kind of quietly saying that to yourself? Because that is one that you can do as well if you want that to be your assignment. I'm reading these from 19, very end of the chapter. The third one, tell yourself that you have a life mission and a silent partner who's accessible at any moment you choose. When ego defines you by what you have or do or compares you to the others in your life, use your power of free will to terminate those thoughts. To say to yourself, I'm here on purpose. I can accomplish anything I desire, and I do it by being in harmony with the all-pervading creative force in the universe. This will become an automatic way of responding to life. Synchronistic results will begin to happen. So that's a phrase that maybe you write down, maybe you just learn it so you can repeat it constantly. That is an option, number 3. Number 4 option, act as if anything you desire is already here. Believe that all you seek you've already received and that it exists in spirit, and know you shall have your desires filled. One of my 10 secrets for success and inner peace is to treat yourself as if you already are what you'd like to become. All right, so living in that spirit. Peg says number 4 is hers. She's definitely going to continue. Yep. I would love to hear. 3, Melissa's using the mantra. Yep, it's a good mantra. All right, the last one is to copy an ancient Hasidic saying and carry it with you for a year. It's a reminder of the power intention and how it can work with you every day and in every way. So this is the saying: when you walk across the fields with your mind pure and holy, from all the stones and all growing things and all animals, the sparks of their soul come out and cling to you. And then they are purified and become a holy fire in you. All things conspiring to help you get to where you're wanting to go. So that is option number 5. So I'd love to hear which assignment you were taking. Leah says she's doing 1 and 5. Nice, totally fine to do multiple. I'm seeing 4s and 3s over on Instagram. Guys, pick one that you're going to do, commit to it, and I can't wait to hear because there is going to be things that happen in life, and this week, remind yourself you're connected to this. Grab the trolley strap, say the mantra, read the statement, and connect yourself with the truth of who you really, really are. So I am incredibly grateful. So I'm seeing number 1 and number 5. I'm seeing number 1 and number 4. All right. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. So Larry says he's planning on number 3. Very nice. Number 2, Steph says, that's what you're working on. I feel I struggle with losing my peace, so I definitely will repeat intention when I'm losing it. Yeah. And sometimes like a state change, like I will walk outside, I'll ground myself, I'll put my feet on the earth, like I'm like, let me just reconnect to everything. All right, guys. Peg, yes, blessings to you. We will see you next week. Chapter 2, let's look and see. Chapter 2 goes from page 21 to page 34. Okay, so not bad. Chapter 2 is going to be what we read. Same time, same place. I will be in Iceland next week. I am assuming that I'm going to have internet and everything will be fine. And if for some reason I don't pop in live, that's why. But I have every intention on being here. And Will connected to make sure I am, guys. So sending lots of love. Really grateful. If you have friends that you feel like could use this conversation, they don't need to join book club, tag them, share this. I think that this is really, really powerful information that's going on here. So I'm grateful to you all for joining me, and have a beautiful week. You're welcome, Karen. You're welcome, Ron. Bye, guys. Bye, Candy. Hey, hi, and bye, Charlotte. Good to see you.